Marvel has a surprisingly large amount of flat characters. Let's dig into them. Obviously, this all started with Thin Man, who first appeared in 1940. And obviously, Marvel has Mr. Fantastic, who can do the same thing and first appeared 21 years later. But Reed Richards can do a lot more than turn flat. So let's focus on characters where being flat is the main gimmick. Marvel's most famous flat figure is probably Flatman. First appearing in West Coast Avengers number 46 in 1989, Flatman can do everything Reed Richards can do as long as it involves being flat. He began as a young man named Matt, whose powers first appeared while he was working as a barista. He figured this meant he could be a superhero. He gave himself a properly alliterative secret identity of Val Ventura and joined the Great Lakes Avengers. Or was that the Lightning Rods? Or GLX? The team had a lot of names. Regardless, he can do all of the folding things you'd expect. Like turning sideways to become completely invisible, although I guess it helps if you're looking at him from just the right angle. I'm sure he can do other things too. He's also one of Marvel's early heroes to establish themselves as part of the LGBT community. But Flatman's not alone. Meet 2D Man of the Libertines. It was a teenage group that was named kind of in honor of the Liberty Legion, of which Thin Man was a member. That group first appeared in Avengers Initiative Annual 1 in 2007, and after they broke up, many of the members went on to form the Fantastics. They're like the Fantastic Four, but they have an X at the end, so you know they're cool. As 2D, Daryl Payne does all of the same things that Flatman can do, but he's at least inspired intentionally by Thin Man. I wonder if the same can be said for the Rob Liefeld character, Eel of Surf. Not sure if that's supposed to be an acronym or not. Eel has all the same powers the other guys have, but he can also breathe underwater because he's an Atlantean. Eel and his friends are from New Mutants Annual 4 in 1989, and not much else. These guys don't really appear much in anything not written by Rob Liefeld. While he probably can't breathe underwater, Jamie Danzig also has all of those same basic flat powers with the additional ability of blending into the shadows because he can become living Dark Force. Jamie here first appeared in 2012's first X-Men, the premise of which was that Wolverine tried to form a team of X-Men before Professor X ever bothered, and the team failed. Jamie was a member for all of one mission with the name Shadow Shift. After everything went pear-shaped, Charles Xavier helped Jamie and his brother reunite with their father and then told the world they were dead. I hope he also gave the family new identities because otherwise it's going to be hard continuing to exist after that. On the note of continuing to exist, there's no word on what happened to Jamie after that series ended, which took place before X-Men #1, way back in the 60s, whatever. He may or may not be the same person as this guy, 2D, from the Age of X-Man, but that was an alternate reality, so Another flat character who may be at least visually familiar to those of you who watched X-Men '97 is Tommy the Morlock. Despite having only a handful of appearances, she's cool enough to have people cosplay as her, like my friend here who has a great smile. Tommy can do all the usual flat stuff, but she can also blend in with any painted background. She also has the distinction of being one of the first victims of the mutant massacre. In the Age of Krakoa, she was brought back to life and allowed to get her revenge, and joined the X-Men for at least one mission. She's come a long way since her first appearance in X-Men 210 back in 1986. Now I want to tell you about Paper Doll. Appearing in 2008's Amazing Spider-Man 559, she has all the same powers Tommy has, but she's a little unhinged. And she can share her flatness with others, but they don't survive the experience. She's fought Spider-Man a few times, and that's about it. Paper Doll's real name is apparently Piper Dolly, and I really think she should appear more. She's kind of interesting. Also interesting, to me at least, is another character who appeared in 1961, like Reed Richards, but in Tales of Suspense number 23. Teenager John Cummings let his curiosity get the best of him and followed strange men down a dark hole. Don't follow strange men down dark holes, because you might end up like John and fall flat. Apparently, young John discovered a two-dimensional world with two-dimensional creatures who wanted to conquer the third dimension because, of course, they did. When they discovered John had discovered them, they unleashed the Hypno Creature on him. This fearsome creature is all but unstoppable. It can hypnotize anybody with all of its hypno abilities. John tricked it into hypnotizing itself. I guess it's not that bright. There you go. Marvel's got a lot of very flat characters, some with very flat personalities, and most of them probably think they're very unique. But What super obscure Marvel thing should I cover next?